The Great. In ancient history, few names shine brighter than Alexander the Great. He was not just a king, he was a conqueror, a strategist, and a military genius who built one of the largest empires the world had ever seen. But how did a young boy from Macedonia rise to almost conquer the world? This is his story. Alexander was born in 356 BC in Macedonia, a powerful kingdom in ancient Greece. His father was King Philip II, a brilliant military leader who built Macedonia into a strong fighting state. From a young age, Alexander was different. He was not interested in ordinary royal hobbies. Instead, he wanted knowledge, power, and glory. One of the most important influences in his life was the famous philosopher Aristotle, who taught him philosophy, science, politics, and literature. Aristotle helped shape Alexander's belief that Greek culture was superior and should spread across the world. Even as a teenager, Alexander showed leadership skills. There is a famous story where he tamed a wild horse named Bucephalus, a horse no one else could control. This symbolized his destiny to conquer challenges others could not. At only 20 years old, Alexander's life changed forever. His father, King Philip II, was assassinated. Suddenly, Alexander became king of Macedonia. Many enemies thought he was too young to rule. They were wrong. Alexander quickly crushed the rebellions within Greece to secure his power. Then he turned his attention to something bigger, conquest beyond Greece. Alexander began one of the greatest military campaigns in history. His first major target was the Persian Empire, ruled by powerful kings who controlled massive territories. One of his greatest victories was against the Persian king Darius III. Instead of using slow traditional warfare, Alexander used speed, intelligence, and psychological warfare. He was known for leading from the front. His soldiers trusted him because he shared their hardships. This leadership style built extreme loyalty among his troops. Alexander continued moving south into Egypt, where he was welcomed as a liberator rather than a conqueror. In Egypt, he founded one of the most famous cities in history, Alexandria, which later became a center of knowledge, trade, and science. The Egyptian priests even declared him a divine ruler, strengthening his political power. Alexander's military success came from innovation. Instead of fighting long defensive wars, he preferred fast attacks, flexible army formations, surprise tactics, and strong cavalry charges. His famous military formation was the Macedonian phalanx, heavily armed heavily armed soldiers fighting in tight formations with long spears. Enemies found it difficult to break through. Alexander's ambition had no limits. He pushed his army further east into India, facing powerful local kingdoms and strong resistance. But at the Hydaspes River, his army faced fierce opposition from Indian King Porus. Although Alexander won, his army was exhausted. They refused to march further east. For the first time, Alexander's dream of unlimited conquest was stopped, not by enemies, but by his own soldiers. Reluctantly, he turned back. Despite being a conqueror, Alexander's life was filled with emotional and political tension. He married several times to strengthen political alliances. Some historians believe he struggled with maintaining control over his massive empire because different cultures were difficult to unify. He tried to combine Greek and local traditions to build a single empire. In 323 BC, at just 32 years old, Alexander became seriously ill in Babylon. The exact cause of his death remains a mystery. Some historians believe poisoning, disease, or alcohol-related illness. Before he died, he reportedly said his empire should go to the strongest. After his death, his empire quickly split among his generals. Even though his empire did not survive long after his death, his influence changed the history of the world forever. He spread Greek culture across Asia and the Middle East in what historians call the Hellenistic era. Cities, trade routes, and cultural exchanges flourished because of his campaigns. Today, historians still study Alexander as a military genius, a visionary leader, a controversial conqueror, and also some see him as a hero, others see him as a ruthless warrior. But one thing is certain, he changed the world forever. From a young prince to a world conqueror, Alexander's life was short but legendary. In just 32 years, he achieved what most people could never achieve in a lifetime. His story reminds us that ambition, strategy, and leadership can change history for better or for worse.